No, they call me the Doctor.
Why don't you just call me Doctor?
I am the Doctor.
I'm the Doctor. You may be a doctor, but I'm the Doctor.
I'm called the Doctor.
I am
The Doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
I am the Doctor!
He is a doctor.
Doctor? Of what? I'm sure the man has no academic standing whatsoever.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hate that you make that face every time I do that. I'm excited to talk about these shows.
I know, but it was just like that. You did.
Yeah, that's my radio voice.
I don't like it.
That's how I'm going to get picked up, is because of this podcast that no one listens to. No. Okay, anyways. Yeah, so last time, if you guys tuned in, we were watching the serial, The Daleks. Mm-hmm. We covered the first 4 episodes, mm-hmm. and now we're going to cover the last 3. Mm-hmm. So, what are your initial thoughts, Pants?
On the last 3?
Correct.
I mean, it's on par for like the rest of the serial, I guess. I do think, I don't know if I said it last time or not, but I do think this probably could have been like 4 episodes.
Yeah, there were some things that they gave more screen time that didn't really need it.
Yeah, like, I mean, this time we'll get into the whole cave pit mm-hmm. situation.
Well, they took, 2 episodes in its entirety to
cross that gap.
Vlog their journey.
Yes. Yeah. I think it could have been shortened, but that's how it was in the 60s, I guess.
Hey, and that's fine.
Yeah, they're just making TV.
That was a first go round of people watching TV too. So you don't have those really heavy expectations of, are you going to give me a plot twist? Where are my cool special effects?
Yeah, they didn't know what any of that was.
Where is the depth between the dialogue that is happening right now?
Well, the depth was in the pit that the dude fell down.
What'd they call it? The chasm.
The chasm, indeed.
The chasm, indeed.
Yes. So, we'll get right into it. Let's see. Part 5 is the expedition. And, as always, I don't have the little thing pulled up with the date.
Oh, I do. January 18th, 1964.
Good God. Good job.
I write it underneath all my titles.
Nice.
And I think it's cool to watch the show's progression over the course of the year, so that's why I started writing them down.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So, yeah, it was, just like the rest, written by Terry Nations. And one fun fact, Tina, mm-hmm. As far as historical events go.
Oh, yes. I forgot about these. Great.
I know. I like to surprise you every week.
One day I'll remember.
So, January 18th, that is the date you said, right?
Yes.
Great. 1964. Plans for the World Trade Center were announced in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And the Beatles made their first appearance on the U.S. Billboard charts with the single I Want to Hold Your Hand, debuting at 45.
Oh, my gosh. That's so great.
Mm-hmm.
First part, pretty heavy. That's sad. But yeah. I am a big fan of the Beatles. My mom really liked the Beatles. And although we don't listen to music at the same time anymore, that used to be something that, we visited a lot. I also really enjoyed Across the Universe.
Oh, the movie.
Yes. Sorry.
That was very good. I was surprised that I actually liked that movie.
Yes.
I haven't revisited it in a minute. The Daleks have now successfully duplicated the radio. What word? I said radioactive. That's not the word.
No, are you talking about the
radiation? Is what
radiation.
I want to say.
Ranger scopes.
Okay.
I don't know why that was in my head.
All right.
They mentioned that.
They did.
But that's what I thought you were going for, but it wasn't.
They have successfully duplicated the radiation drug.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And they're also able to spy on our little gang of Englishmen.
Pioneers.
Sure.
Englishmen.
And women from the middle of the city with their fancy tech.
Mm-hmm.
First thing we see of our group in this episode, though, is they're all kind of standing around with the Thals and kind of discussing a plan. And Susan's climbing a tree.
Yes, adorable.
Is it because she's not being helpful? They're like, "Where's Susan? she's in the tree.
I'm really curious to know how old she was meant to be in this series, because she does have a very juvenile, like almost exaggerated juvenile characteristics with her character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's explored somewhere, and I'm sure I could find an answer online.
I'd like you to.
But I mean, I would assume she's not a teenager. I mean, just because.
So, okay, are you saying younger than teenager or just
Older.
above? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I guess how Time Lords age, because she is part Time Lord.
Assumption, right? I mean, it is his granddaughter,
right?
But who knows what his kids got with before?
Right, but if he's a Time Lord, that means his kid would have been a Time Lord. So she's at least half a Time Lord.
He didn't get with a Time Lord, then it would have been a half, and then she's a quarter. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it affects how she ages.
Either way, I guess what I'm just trying to get at is, there's a lot of moments where her character does something with her face that is exaggerative. Is that a word? Exaggerated. Yep. Sure. And it's comical when it's not supposed to be.
Sure. I think that's just an acting choice.
But that's why I want to know how old she was supposed to be, because was she supposed to be juvenile, or is this how? Okay, I guess what I'm basing this on. Okay, so when you're assigned a character, we can't have 16-year-olds playing 16-year-olds, because sometimes in TV they need to do something more. So they'll hire like a 20-year-old who looks like a 16-year-old to play a freshman.
Like Grease.
Yes.
They all look like they were teenagers, right? They were in their 40s.
Yes. That is an extreme version, and that is exactly what I'm talking about.
I think
I was like, wait, they look really... Oh, yeah, duh. Continue.
I think you're like vaguely kind of inching towards like child labor laws. In that's kind of why they have older people playing kids,
right?
Because they don't have the restrictions of not working at night,
yes,
and yada yada. I don't know what the laws were in another country in the 60s, so I don't. My assumption would be that was not a law, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would assume I forget her name, but the woman who plays Susan was probably younger than 20.
Yeah.
So,
but acting like a freshman.
Sure.
Age-wise.
Yeah.
Because, again, sometimes she's incredibly smart. I'm not dogging her on that. Yeah. I just also think there's a level of, like, innocence and ignorance to her.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anyways.
Maybe if you remind me before the next episode, I'll actually look and see how old Susan is supposed to be. Write it down.
Where's my pen?
You probably left it when you were making weed notes for your...
No! Pen!
Here. Here's a pen. Susan's climbing a tree, right?
Yep.
And Ian he's refusing to take the Thals into battle. He doesn't want that blood on his hands.
Barbara's really trying to pull his man card right now. Indeed,
yes. So the Doctor thinks that the Thals can beat the Daleks by outthinking them. So, where the Daleks are going to be using violence and everything, the Thals can use their old blonde noggins.
His direct quote was, "The mind will triumph over ammunition."
Yep. Hear that, Putin?
Oh my God! Stop.
So Ian tries to convince. Now he's trying to convince the Thals to fight. He changes his tune really quick.
Yeah, well, Barbara's been breathing down his neck, so he's like,
indeed, and they had to progress
really
the
trying
episode.
to please Barbara right now, because I feel
we
her
don't
slipping.
have time for another episode of him contemplating.
We don't.
He threatens one of the Thals to that he's going to take the women to the Daleks, and then he is promptly punched.
Yes.
And not knocked out, but he's punched to the ground by one of the Thals.
He tried to blackmail them, and then he grabbed her. It was like, take me seriously now.
Yeah. Back in the city, the Daleks are reacting pretty negatively to the drug that they've just duplicated. There's multiple, I guess.
It's like a montage of screaming Daleks.
Yeah. So they gave only certain sects of sects sects of the Daleks.
Okay, I was confused too, so
yeah,
thank you for the clarification.
Sure. Only certain ones got the drug at a time, so I guess they could see if they were going to react negatively. And the ones that did are like tripping out and
malfunctioning.
Yeah, and they're screaming
tripping
like
out.
Little bitches.
It was
little bitch Daleks.
The montage was actually like pretty funny because especially Daleks now, they're more of a feared character, right? Like the Doctor takes them seriously, but in this moment
it was comical.
It was comical.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I would like I tried to look for like a little soundbite.
Oh, that would have been great.
I know, but
and I can't do it well. I can try.
I would like you to try. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not
we
even
shouldn't
close.
Have. No.
Okay, let's hear yours.
I'm not gonna try.
I didn't think so. You have no balls.
Don't want to give people false expectations. So they announced that they're stopping the distribution of the drug and that they actually need the radiation to survive. And the drug was removing that from their
hardwiring.
Sure.
Yep.
How did they take the drug?
I don't know. I just know that it was an antidote, but I don't know how they. Because it was a vial when our pioneers, our little English group, had it. It was like a vial form. So I don't know how the Daleks.
How they administered it to
I don't
themselves.
think so.
I assumed it was a shot, but
yeah.
I don't know. Their solution, now that they know that they can't take the drug, is that they need to explode another neutron bomb.
Yes.
To create just that much more radiation.
It was like an ideal environment for outside because the radiation had
dissipated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So
I was going to say regressed, and that is where I mean, maybe
not as good as dissipated. But,
yeah, go ahead.
You know. So the Thal and Barbara are discussing a lake that apparently glows in the moonlight.
Yes.
That is on kind of the other side of the city from where they are. I think they said it's like a 2-day trek to get there, and that horrors live there.
I have many questions about this. So
I can answer them all. Go.
Kind of in a nutshell, right? Just to give you an idea of what's going on. Like Pan said, apparently mutations of animals or people or something occupy the surroundings or innards of this lake. And I think it's because the Daleks were experimenting of some kind, right?
Well, I think
the
mutations were coming from the actual radiation from the war between the Thals and the Daleks previously.
Yes. Anyways, so I'm going to jump a little bit ahead, but they are essentially taking a trip through the mountains, through the lake, because it's the quickest way to get there, while the other group goes around.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which I believe is a little bit longer of a journey, if I'm not mistaken. They come across, this bubbly, loud swamp. And the Thals have, I guess, tried to cross this before, and they lost men.
Right.
But they do not tell the English companions that this is something that occurred.
No.
And I am skipping a little bit more ahead, but with all the talk about this lake, Pants, why is it that they, A, collect their drinking water from it, B, cross the lake with their bare feet, and 3.
A, B, 3.
Yep. I couldn't remember if I was, see? 3.
Yeah.
Tertiary. They were using the water to wash their faces. Yep.
This
Go
all
ahead.
makes sense to me. 1, we're going to do 1, 2, 3 instead of A, B, 3.
Okay.
1, that's the only water source, I assume.
Okay.
B, what was 2B?
I think.
Oh, the shoes. They don't have shoes. So what else are they going to do?
I guess, walk through the bubbly, mutated lake.
Exactly.
Okay.
Shouldn't have been a question. And C, again, what else are they going to wash their face with? Okay, they have limited resources. They're on a radiated planet post-war, and they barely have enough clothes to cover their skins. There's holes in all their pants.
It's true. The girls don't have enough clothing.
No.
Okay, I accept. Carry on.
Great. But yeah, so they're at this lake, not a lake. They're at this swamp, and there's like roars and screeches and shit all around them. And I did actually note, why is Ian washing his face in this water? Granted, that was Ian, so he doesn't live there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a moron.
True. But then the Thalls had their homeboy go to this bubbly lake to collect water.
True.
For them to consume.
As opposed to what other water would
I
you
don't know,
suggest?
not the mutating radioactive water.
I think the whole planet's radioactive.
No, they said they found soil that was not radioactive.
Okay, but the water is.
Get
That's
out.
why it was bubbly. That's why there's
kind of
a
like
weird
one of those
animal
flat
in it.
Earth comp.
I don't think this is anywhere
this
close to
is-
flat Earth. We're on Scarro, for one.
And we're just never going to agree. So agree to disagree. Continue.
I want to clear up that neither of us think that the Earth is flat.
That is correct.
Okay.
I
So
was
it's
just
not
comparing
us
our points
disagreeing
to
about-
being that.
Okay. I mean, that's moronic, but slightly different. Because the Earth is round. Yeah. Anyway, so or Ian, I believe, while they're at this swamp area, he ends up seeing a pipeline in the distance that actually goes from the lake to the city. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Daleks are using, I guess, to
Pump water into the city, I guess.
Yeah, which I don't fully understand that either, because I've never seen a Dalek drink.
Yeah. I don't know, because they were saying that they had created food processes without sunlight. So I guess everything needs water. So they needed to... I don't even know what they eat. Do Daleks eat?
I don't know.
This plot script is everywhere.
Well, I mean, I don't expect them to establish this much. I mean, given 7 episodes, they could have established a little bit more. But
Yeah, why do we have to watch them journey for 2 days?
I don't even know now, having seen a lot of what Daleks eat or drink, mind you.
I'm adding it to the list.
Okay. So at that point, we do see one of the Thalls go and get drinking water from the swamp using his little water bag, and the lake. I'm gonna keep calling it a lake on
That's
accident.
fine. It's
sure.
a swamp, but
The body of water.
how big was that body of water?
Miniature, like the city.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more so just like a puddle. So, it opens up, and it's kind of like a whirlpool.
Yeah, it was circling.
Yeah, like a whirlpool does.
Yes.
Yep. It was an apt description. Thank you. And the Thal is apparently sucked in.
It's funny that he's like kind of playing on the bank. Not playing, but obviously he's like, oh my gosh, he's getting sucked in, but he's outside.
Yeah,
I love
there's
these
no
things.
reason he should have been sucked into it.
No.
He wasn't in the water. He was on land, and the whirlpool opened up at least 10 feet from him.
Yeah.
And they don't,
And then slowly got bigger.
yeah, and they don't have that much pull off or on land. They just pull water. So he screams, and it ends.
Yep.
And
And I think it's really fun because that's a cliffhanger. You have to wait a
That is
week
good
to find
cliffhanger.
out.
And I would have been super pissed if I were alive in the 60s. And I'm like, I sat through this with commercials. And this is the end.
And I don't need any more toothpaste.
Exactly. I don't need any more rations or whatever they were. I don't know. What was England like in the 60s? Who knows? So yeah. So the next episode 6, is The Ordeal. And it aired on January 25th, 1964. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. And 2 historical events from that day. The Echo 2 U.S. communication satellite was launched on that day.
Cool.
And another Beatles. The Beatles get their first U.S. #1 with "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
Oh, it was 45 the week before, and it skyrocketed to #1.
Indeed.
That's
Beatles
such a
mania.
good song.
Indeed.
Yeah. I love watching videos of fans for the Beatles when they landed anywhere. And it's such a cool thing, too, because it was so hard to get, I don't know, global recognition, right? This is kind of one of the first big bands to just like
Cross
dominate
the pond.
across the pond. Indeed.
Yes. Come along, pond is what they said.
Oh, love her.
Yes. So the ordeal. I do have my first note in here as this is the worst episode of this serial. It didn't need to happen. It was really fucking boring.
Did you circle back and write that?
I did. I went back and put a down arrow so I knew that it sucked. So the Thal is gone. He's been sucked into the swamp, and
He deserves his name to be said.
what's his name?
Elion.
Elion? Mm-hmm. All right. Bye. The doctor and Susan and some of the other Thal. Is it Aladon? Is that who's
I don't
with
know
them?
who's wandering with them. I'm not going to act like I
Aladon's
know.
the blonde one.
They're all blonde pants.
Fair. So the Dr. Susan and one of the other Thals are spying on the city from a distance, and their plan is to take out the TV and radio waves so that the Daleks won't be able to see them coming or see the other ones coming from the other direction. I guess that's why they split up. So the Daleks say that their new neutron bomb is going to cover 500 square miles, and it's going to take 23 days to construct.
Yes.
And then not a minute later, they're like, that's too long. We're abandoning that plan. There's a scene where Barbara and one of the Thals, did you grab his name, the one at the very end?
I sure did. I wrote it down. His name is...
Keep wanting to say Galactus, but that is definitely... Ganatus. Yeah, it is. So Barbara and Gladys.
Okay.
They are holding hands through this cave that they're going
Yeah.
through. There is some tension there.
There is
Between Barbara and Gladys.
some romantic tension.
Yeah, that was implied by what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So they find a little passage, and Gladys crawls through it.
I hate that you're calling him Gladys.
I already forgot his name. It's
Okay.
either Gladys or Galactus, and neither of those are right.
That's not right.
I know. So he's crawling through this little passage while Barbara holds the tiniest little rope to keep him from falling, and she still drops it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It was interesting to watch her try and stabilize that rope on that rock, and then managed to trip herself. And
Yeah. Well, she put like the rope around the rock and then under her foot with her little Jesus sandal.
yes,
And of course, she is like the size of a toothpick, and Gladys weighs like more than she does, and the rope fails, or she fails the rope,
she did feel the rope.
and in turn fails Gladys.
At least he didn't, permanently injure himself.
Well, no, he fell probably 6 inches. Because they show him fall, and he just hits the ground really quick. I assume it was... They probably didn't need a rope. It was probably a 2-foot drop. So, anywho, the Daleks' reception now is bad because... I don't know why.
I guess
'Cause
they
they
haven't cut the
haven't done
communication
anything
yet.
yet,
Yeah.
so
But I
anyway,
mean,
they
their
will.
ranger scopes or whatever do detect activity. And so,
In the caves now, with half of our Englishmen and Thals. There's one of the Thals that I again don't know his name, but he starts to get cold feet about the whole thing. He tripped?
He starts tripping.
Oh, he's tripping. Mm-hmm. Tripping, as it were.
No G.
Tripping?
No G. Tripping.
I thought you were calling me G.
No, you just kept saying tripping.
Tripping,
But it's
as it were.
tripping.
It's very ethnic of you. Yeah, so he starts getting scared and he wants to turn back. He's afraid the Daleks are going to kill them, which is fair.
It is.
And right when he's fighting with, I assume, Aladon to try and go back, some rocks collapse.
Yeah, I
out
guess
of nowhere.
An avalanche of some kind happened.
Yeah, maybe he's being too loud.
Oh, yeah, vibrations.
Yeah, and so the rocks collapse, and of course that blocks their way back. So,
And in the meantime,
yeah,
the Doctor and Susan are having a blast destroying Dalek technology.
they are. They have gotten into the buildings in the city, and the Doctor uses the TARDIS key to short circuit the static electricity circuits.
Sure.
Which is
yes.
just it's a lot of fun to watch them because they are having
a blast.
Yes, Susan is just giddy with joy.
I really enjoyed whoever said terrific shock. Like, they had to be careful because it could give off a terrific shock.
And it was.
It was.
It was
indeed.
terrific.
I would never say that, and it's such a wonderful way to describe getting electrocuted.
I mean, you say wonderful, I say terrific. So.
You're so annoying.
You haven't made me dinner yet. So after they do that, the Daleks, of course, find them and they corner them. And that's kind of the last we see of them for the episode. They're just kind of backed into a corner by 3 or 4 Daleks. Mm-hmm. They made, I think I said this last time, but they made it like a shit ton of Daleks for this serial.
It was really cool.
But
you did.
Okay, well, okay. I stand by what I said. The Daleks do explain their plan to the Doctor and Susan as far as radiating the planet even more.
World domination.
Indeed. And then we get back to
Barbara and Ian.
Yep, and they're in the cave still. And there's this whole way too long sequence of them finding this what would you call it?
I was literally about to interject. Chasm.
Really deep hole in the cave. And their brilliant idea is to send Ian across first with a rope.
Yes.
And the rope being tied around Ian. And the others will then take turns tying the rope around themselves, taking a few steps back and running and jumping across said chasm. And Ian catching them, I guess, on the other side. They're all taking turns jumping, and then we get to the last one, the one who was afraid back in the cave, and he gets the rope, and he's like, I can't do it, blah, blah, blah. He's super emo. And he does it, but he bounces off Ian.
It's such a weird moment.
It's
and
a
I
weird
know that a lot of
shot.
it is because it was shot funny. Exactly. Yeah. It's like showing him running, and then they had to cut it in a way that you can tell he did attempt to get to the other side.
Yeah, but it looks like he gets to Ian and Ian pushes him.
It really does.
It's not what happens, but it looks like he was either pushed or he just bounced off Ian completely.
Or as an actor, he had to decide that he had to get up there and then step back. Or a director's choice. Because he spent a moment there, right? Like suspended. It was supposed to cause some tension. Oh no! And then, he fell.
Indeed.
But thank God it was still attached to Ian.
Yes. So the episode ends with Ian struggling to cling to this rock face.
But also there was a really long pause between him landing and Ian's reaction time. If Ian had wanted to, he could have prevented that fall. Anyway, so that's where that episode ends. And again, another mighty cliffhanger. Literally.
It's a cliff.
I wish we had a soundbite. You should find one.
I'm glad we don't.
Because it doesn't sound good on my thighs.
It doesn't.
All right. So the next episode we are covering is The Rescue. This premiered February 1st, 1964. And we'll see if Pants has any fun facts for us.
You know, there is one right there. It's just cut off. I'm trying to see if I have it in here. I don't. You know, probably not. But from what I can see from the cutoff, Panama ends Diplo.
Diplomatic, maybe?
I think it's the artist Diplo.
Oh my God, I hear you. I can't. Okay. Anyways,
They
so
ended him. Panama said, "Fuck you, Diplo."
we don't want your dance music here. All right. So,
Yep. The Rescue. Down Under.
Down Under.
Yep.
I wrote I daren't let go. So I think somebody
Beautiful.
says it. It might not have, but then I have ... Never let go, Ian. Never let go, Jack.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of Titanic references for one episode.
It was between Titanic and The Lion King, but
I would
Titanic
rather you-
felt The Lion King where Mufasa's hanging
Yeah,
over the
no,
cliff.
that would have been more poignant because they're on a rock.
There's a weird moment where the guy who tried to abandon the group is
Emo
trying to hold on to the rope that is tucked under his arm. So I'm still kind of confused as to why he says he's slipping. He's slipping.
Mm-hmm.
But poor Ian and his fingers on that rock, I would have broken every digit. And then somehow, you know,
You would have broken digits A, B, and 3.
listen, you did 1, 2, C.
Yeah,
Wait
I was
till you hear
making
back.
fun of you.
Well, it wasn't delivered that way.
I thought it was.
Thought isn't doesn't count.
I
if
made
didn't.
multiple mistakes because I was making fun of you.
They didn't know that at home.
I bet they did.
Shh. Okay. Anyways, so he unfortunately dies, but he pulls out a knife and like self-sacrifices himself for the group.
Yep,
So another one bites the dust.
indeed. If his mouth was open.
Thals are dying left and right in this episode.
Yep.
You know, when Gaston is like, my brother said we'd all die. Gaston came before Gladys. I couldn't think of Gladys. It came to me after I said
thought
Gaston.
you were making a Beauty and the Beast reference. I thought that we were just going down
There's
a whole
so
rabbit
much
hole.
Disney. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have Disney on the brain. So anyways, his name is not Gaston.
It's
but
Gladys.
it was really funny because Barbara's like really distraught because they just lost somebody in their party, right? And the Thal does this weird thing. And again, it's not supposed to be comical, but I caught it. He does a weird tap on her face to comfort her. Like you see him like, you know, basically acknowledging Barbara's moment where she's distressed, and he like taps her on the face again as a sign of comfort. It
That's
was
how
very
they do it.
strange. I'll
It's
show you
strange
later.
to us because we're not Thals. That's how they convey
Despise
empathy.
the way that you just come up with some solution to a problem that wasn't even there. I got
Just spiked.
I heard
Yeah.
you had me very emotional. Okay.
You're welcome.
So anyways,
So, back in the buildings, the Doctor and Susan are still, after a week of waiting between episodes, they are still cornered by the Daleks.
unfortunately.
Yep. And they, again, explain their plan to radiate the planet even more, in case we had forgotten. Ian and company, they're kind of discussing their options. They find that the cave is blocked again. They turn off their torch, their flashlight.
Which was pretty strange. Continue.
What was strange? Torch?
The torch. I didn't really
That's
understand
a British thing.
it.
That's a British thing. They call it a
That
torch.
light?
Oh,
Just like the light itself.
Oh.
Not the
Oh,
torch
the verbiage.
part. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
Alright.
love the verbiage.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's
they
just
call it torch over there.
way more elegant than what we do.
Most things they do are just so much better than
Yep.
what we do.
Agreed. Maybe we can move there.
Sure. Yeah. The guy who did my tattoo lives over there.
That's right. We can be friends with him.
Yeah.
Maybe live in his loft.
I don't know if he has a loft.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
What's housing look like there?
I don't know, but like Phil, if you want to house us. His name's Phil.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bonjour, Phil.
He, what? No.
Practicing.
You think they talk like that? Bonjour?
In Paris, they do. We're going to be so close we
is
can go take
England.
vacations.
So they turn off their light, and that's when they're able to see a way out. Mm-hmm. They can see some light kind of coming through some of the rocks.
And that's when they find all the connections for the water.
Yes.
I think it's the water system
Sure. Yep.
that me and Pants don't know what they need for.
No idea. The doctor's explaining to the Daleks that, you know, he's trying to get him and Susan out of this situation. He's saying that he has a ship that would be really valuable to them that can maneuver through space and time. The Daleks don't really believe him, but shortly after, they're alerted that the Thals are actually entering the city. So they speed up their whole countdown to radiate the city. And when I say speed up their countdown, I mean they're quick to initiate the countdown.
Yes.
The countdown, starting from 100, takes through the rest of the episode. It's the slowest countdown. I feel like they say 98. We get 2 more scenes. Cuts back to them, and they're like
97.
They're finishing the word 98.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the longest scenes I've had to sit through.
Yeah.
It was great, but it was ridiculous.
It is, yeah. Building suspense in the 60s was hard, I guess.
Yes.
So Ian, Barbara, and the Thals, they get sealed in one of the Daleks' corridors as the Daleks begin to like lock down their entire compound. Mm-hmm. Barbara somehow gets trapped under a door.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. They're all idiots. But she gets through. So
I mean,
we still
that's
have
good.
Barbara. And then
Apparently the Daleks are pushing all of their power into making that door go down
sure.
more. Ian mentions it at some point in time.
Okay. I don't really trust Ian. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I agree.
He's a history teacher.
What
Ugh.
do they know?
Yeah. Or is he science? She's history.
She is
'Cause
history. He is science.
She gave her the French Revolution book.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. Fair. So she's science. I believe Barbara more.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we're at 46, 45, 44 in the countdown. One of the Thals is then shot by a Dalek. Did that one die?
I think all of the ones that got shot by the Daleks
Died.
fell to the ground, which I'm going to assume means death.
Cool.
There was a lot of exchange of
Fire?
fire. The fight scene was wonderful.
Oh, great. Yes.
It was a really cool scene where, they're fighting with the Daleks and they're jumping on top of
riding them around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it
was wonderful.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Ian.
And once again, not meant to be funny.
Correct. Yes. Ian, I assume it's Gladys. They get to the Doctor and Susan. The Daleks see them. They shoot at Barbara. They miss, of course. Ian throws a shirt, it looks like, at the Dalek, I guess, to cover up his little eye stalk. Then one of the Thals is riding one, as we said. Another Thal is shot. There's this whole back and forth. The Dalek's power source is damaged, and they're begging the Doctor to save their power source, or it will be their end.
The last of the Daleks, or the end of the Daleks.
Yes. The Doctor says he doesn't know how, so tough titty.
And the Dalek does, once again, a funny whine as he dies.
Yeah, his eye stalk kind of like goes to the ceiling, like kind of in the way a human would like throw their head back. It's very funny. Ian gives the Doctor the TARDIS part, the fluid link, yeah, that this whole thing was caused by, and now the Thals, having seemingly defeated the Daleks, they have everything they need to thrive, and they have like their artificial sun and shit that the Daleks made.
Somehow we get to the Dalek very quickly.
What do you mean?
Did I say the Dalek?
You did.
I apologize. Somehow we get to the TARDIS
That makes more
very
sense.
quickly.
Sure.
It takes 2 days, takes 2 episodes to get here, and then we can get here in 15 seconds. Why didn't we do that before?
I might have an actual legitimate answer.
Oh, sweet.
I think they had to go those routes previously to avoid being seen by the Daleks with their radars and shit. So now they can just kind of make a beeline back.
Huh.
So they don't have to worry about being seen.
You got it. I am content with that.
Wonderful. The Thals that want the Doctor to stay and kind of assist them in building their new civilization. And the Doctor says that he's too old to be a pioneer. Pioneer.
Is that what you wrote? Pioneer?
No, that's what I said.
Pioneer.
Though he does mention that he used to be a pioneer back with his people, back in his young days. The woman Thal, Dione, presents Susan with a shawl, kind of made of that weird material that they use. Susan puts it on, does a little spin, and then she falls because that's who she is.
Yes.
And then there's just like this really sweet moment before they leave where Barbara and Gladys are having their little goodbye. Like they're very close to each other. They look like, if this were made now, they would have kissed. But they're just like, safe travels and,
Yeah, it
don't
was like
forget
an
me and
endearing
blah, blah,
goodbye,
blah.
like saying goodbye to somebody that you had a connection with, but in that moment, it's not going to work.
Right. The TARDIS leaves with our gang inside. And, everything is going well
Seemingly
inside the
okay.
TARDIS, just like every serial ends. And then they crash, maybe.
Yeah, there's some kind of commotion with the TARDIS.
Yeah.
They're jostled, right? And then
They
see
always be jostling.
I hate you. And then the title for the next serial comes up, which is The Edge of Destruction. What is that going to bring? Why were they jostled around the TARDIS? I love how much you hate
this.
it.
I hate when you do that. It's so annoying.
It's really annoying to me when people do that. And so
Is
I think
it?
I do it
Yeah, that's
like
great.
out of annoyance. Like,
Great.
okay, let me try that again.
No, we're leaving that. That's
Okay.
good.
Wonderful.
So, what did you think of this as a whole?
I think it's fun, man. This story was stretched out a little longer than it needed to be. Kind of as we touched on before, it probably could have done 4, maybe 5 episodes if they really wanted to. But there were some things that really didn't have any long-term purpose, right?
Sure.
And I'm not saying that in stories there shouldn't be like something, I guess, substantiary in every single episode. But this is pretty superficial.
Fair enough. This was while they were filming this. This serial is actually when JFK was assassinated. Was when they were filming this, and the other one was airing. The very next day, according to whatever website I got this from. Just kidding. Yeah, the next day is when Doctor Who actually made its public debut with an Unearthly Child. So it was right when this one was still filming, when the other one came out. And also, in Terry Nation's original ending for the serial, the Daleks and the Thals were both confronted by a race of beings from another planet who revealed that it was their ancestors who had actually fired the neutron missile which had devastated Skaro centuries earlier. Their people had since realized the error of their ways and sought to help both the Daleks and the Thals rebuild their civilization. But that would have kind of taken away from the Daleks, like ever coming back and being pissed off.
Yeah.
So, a good ending, but maybe for like another villain, I guess. Next week, we'll be covering the 2-part serial Edge of Destruction.
Exciting stuff.
Indeed. Anywho, until next week, everybody.
Anywho.
Have a grand week, and don't go in any spooky swamps.
Yep. Nope.
Yep. That's my advice.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Ew.
What is that noise?
I think it's a plane.
Oh, God, is it coming down?
That's awfully loud.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's getting further
Did we say
away.
World Trade Center too loud?
Stop. Is
They're like,
Russia
"Oh, shit,
attacking?
did we miss? That's what they were thinking.
It sounded like it was circling back. Ask.
Like, get the gaze. God damn it. Lick it. Lick the pen.
Did you just tell me to lick it?
Yes.
Does that do it?
Yeah. What's the beak?
Oh, no. I usually just write on the bottom of my shoe, but I'm not wearing a shoe. Because if you do it on rubber.
Try it now. Scribble. There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why you go through so many fucking pens. You just throw them away.
I really fucking do. Ask pants to look.
God, you need a shorthand.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know how to.
It's not a shorthand. You just made it cursive.
That's how I write quickly.
It's still beautiful. It's annoying.
I hate it. Okay.
All
sorry.
right. So,
let me flip back.
anyway,